30th of August, Rabbi Levitt, Gemora.
Good. Okay, so let's see. We are
we left off at the 113B5. You and I, right?
What?
Remember we finished this out? Yes.
oh yeah, right. We did some Gemora yesterday. We got up to we did a lot, but I think for the benefit of everybody who wasn't here yesterday, we'll start from where we ended off on Yom Sheni. And so that is Tanya Rebbe Pinchas ben Yoer. This is the two dots on Kuf Yod Gimel Amud Beis, 2 dots, 4 lines from where the wide lines begin.
It's 113B3 on the right column. The new thing, the Gemara qualifies preceding law.
Okay, so we go to Alan to start off the reading.
Where did we finish yesterday? 113B5.
113B3, right-hand column, where it continues. The Gemara qualifies. B3.
It's the third paragraph, Alan.
Robert discusses another situation.
No. I don't know where you're looking. 113B3.
Yeah, we decided to go back to we're going back, Alan. We're going to page 3 of the Art Scroll 113.
So where is it now? Robert discusses
You're on 113 B3?
B3 or B5? B3?
B3. Yeah. Yeah, we got up to B5 yesterday, but we're gonna go back and go over it again.
Okay. Source for the second ruling?
No. First of all, get 113B.
You're on the right page now, but you're on the wrong column.
Okay.
Should be on the right-hand column.
Oh.
We have something.
After the break, the middle.
I can't read right now. They're making too much noise.
Oh, okay. Very good. Okay, so Roy, you want to start?
All right then. The Gemara qualifies the preceding law. All right. Tanya was taught in a brisa. Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair Omer. He said, "B'makom sheyesh chilul Hashem, a place where a desecration of the name might result, afilu avadoso asor, even his lost article is forbidden."
So he wouldn't be able to take the lost article for himself, the Jew, in a case where there would be Hilul Hashem.
Says even his lost article.
The lost article of the Goy.
Oh, is it? Not of the Jew.
Let's take a look at what Rashi says. Is there a Rashi? I don't actually see a Rashi over here. No.
23. It says a Canaanite in the notes.
Oh, interesting. What's that?
Mm. Yeah, it mentions a Canaanite. The Canaanite
Yeah.
lost something in the
Yeah.
notes.
So the point is like this. Rashi doesn't comment anything over here, and Tosus doesn't say anything over here. But the one of the commentators on the Rambam, the Kesef Mishnah, who's actually the Beis Yosef, the author of Shulchan Aruch of Yosef Cairo, he's bothered. What exactly is the case over here that we're talking about? That there will be a Chilul Hashem if this Jew does not return this lost item to a goy. So he explains. We're talking about the following scenario: Kigon sherov hanimsaim sham heim Yisraelim. Talking about a town where the majority of the inhabitants of the town are Jewish. And this non-Jew lost an item, and he thinks he lost it in this section of the community where most people there are Jews. V'yizbor hanachri sheganvu oso, and the nachri, the non-Jew, is going to conclude that it must have been that a Jew found it and took it for himself. And that would amount to a Chilul Hashem, says the Kesef Mishnah. And accordingly, in such a case like that, the Jew would be mandated to return the lost item to the non-Jew, not because there's any mitzvah per se to return a lost item to a non-Jew, apparently, like we learned previously. The obligation is to return to a fellow Jew, but there's no obligation to return it to a non-Jew. But in this case, because of the fact that this non-Jew is going to conclude that a Jew found it and he didn't give it back, and he's a ganav, and therefore he's going to denigrate Jews, and it's going to be a Chilul Hashem, he's going to, et cetera, et cetera. In that case, to keep the item that he found. Okay. Now we go on. Amar Shmuel. Lou, you want to read in the Gemora? Amar Shmuel.
Amar Shmuel. Shmuel said, Ta'uso muteris. The mistake of a Canaanite is permitted. He ha Dishmuel Zakain,
Zavan.
Zavan, Mi Kuti, Likna, De Dachava, Bamar, De Fir Zala, Be Arba Zuze. So, as in the instance where Shmuel bought a gold bowl from a Kuthi instead of a copper one for 4 zuz, Va'avla le chad zuze. Shmuel inserted 1 extra zuz into the payment. Rav Kahana Zavan mi kutsi me a ve'esrim cha v'yasa b'mei a. Rav Kahana bought 120 barrels from a Kuthi for the price of 100, and he inserted 1 extra zuz into the payment. He said to the Kuthi, "See that I am relying on you." Oh, I'm sorry. Amar le chaze da'alach ka sa michna. He said to the Kuthi, "See that I am relying on you." A zuz is a small amount of money, isn't it?
Fruit on the zoos. Think of what you got, Chad Gadya, how much you got for 2 zoos. You bought goat for 2 zoos. So it's not that small. The fruiter is the small one.
It's probably worth about 3,000 shekels. So zuz is about 1,500 shekels.
Says here at the back of the book of the Sefer, a zuz is a monetary unit equivalent to a dinar, a coin of that value, the weight of a zuz coin. But it doesn't say anything more. I don't know if it may say something about a dinar at the beginning here. DE.
I'm just wondering if this extra zuz, in the first case, he puts in an extra zuz, and that's a quarter. He increases by a quarter of the total, which seems to be somewhat substantial. But on the other hand, gold is a lot more expensive than copper. But the second case, it definitely seems like this 1 zuz is not a very much large amount of money, because he's missing 20 barrels.
Well, it says here the dinar, the zuz is equivalent to a dinar, so it says a coin, the silver content of the coin was equivalent to 96 grains of barley. It was worth 1/25 the value of a gold dinar. Don't know if that helps or not.
Yeah. Yeah, let's take a look at Rashi. Let's see what the issue over here in the Gemora is. We have a Rashi over here.
First one is Ta'uta.
Ta'uto. Yes, we have to define what this means.
That's some kind of error, and that's right at the end of the first Torah or.
Israel.
Rid of that. But where am I up to now? To Uta?
Yeah.
If it's an error, I just had it there. Chayev lo Israel. He would be chayev to pay a Jew. V'asa v'ta'a b'cheshbon, and he made a mistake in the calculations. Deleka Chil Hashem, because in this case it's not a Chil Hashem situation. What he made a mistake in was the amount that he owes the Jew, and that's not a Chil Hashem.
Okay, I think the situation is like this. It's not so clear from Rashi, but what Rashi means to say is that Rashi says, "Haya chayav lo liYisrael." A non-Jew owed to a Jew. That's the fact number one. V'tah b'cheshbon, but he made a mistake in the calculation. What do you mean in the calculation? The calculation of that's, did he make a mistake how much it was that he owed him? Basically, the point is whether Rashi means to say that he really owed him 100 and he thought that he owed him and he made a mistake and he gave him 120, or he made a mistake in counting out the money and he gave him 120 even though he knew that he was only supposed to give him 100. That's not clear. But there was some mistake that was made by the non-Jew, and he gave him more than he was owed, than he owed the Jew. Now, Rashi doesn't say anything more. What is the Jew supposed to do? So Shmuel said, to Uto Muteres. He receives this 120 is really a mistake. He's only really allowed to get, I mean, he's only owed 100. He's only allowed 100. So is the Jew required to say, look here, you made a mistake over here. You gave me too much money. You gave me 120. You only owe me 100. So in a case like that, Shmuel saying that it's muteris, and that's only in the case, of course, that the goy is not going to realize that he made a mistake. Because if he realizes he makes a mistake, and he realizes that he gave him 120, he knows he gave him 120, and then he realizes, in an hour, you know what? I only owed him 100, and I know I gave him 120. If it's such a situation like that, then the Jew would not be allowed to keep that money. Then in that case, he'd have to return it, because it would be Chilul Hashem, because the non-Jew would accuse the Jew of stealing from him. So Rashi is saying the only case that it would be permissible is if there's no Chilul Hashem. So that's a big if, right? Okay. Now, so that's what Shmuel said. All these cases are if there's no Chilul Hashem. And how do you know? How do you ever know that there's not going to be one? Okay. Now we got the case of Shmuel. Kiha de Shmuel, and here's a Maisa with Shmuel. What happened with Shmuel? He was Zobin Mikusi Lakna de Dahava, some type of a vessel that was gold. The Mar de Parzala. The Arba Zuze, Avale Chad Zuze, for 4 zuz, and he swallowed 1 zuz. He added a zuz. Let's see what Rashi says about this case.
Lakana de Dahava La Perzula. That's he purchased this gold instead of copper. Mazrek Shel Zahav. It's a Mazrek's like a fountain, though. You call it a bowl of gold. Cheskat Shel Nechoshet. With the understanding that it's going to be bronze.
So they understood that it was presumed to be bronze, and I guess the price was according to that presumption. Had they known that it was gold, then the price would have been a lot more, obviously. Okay, so what happened over here? There's another Rashi over here. Ivliale Zuza.
Yeah, that it's swallowed up an extra zuz. Va'od told, it's another error, acheret, and additionally another one, she'ikuv that it sort of delays this, prevents this, ze medavam, from his payment. The hata'uho, this error is becheshbon in the calculation. Shelakach gimel, he took 3 bimkom dal instead of 4.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Okay.
Excuse me,
So that was another mistake that was made, in other words. In addition to the mistake that the goy sold a golden vessel under the presumption that it was a bronze one, there was another mistake that the agreed upon price sounds like it was 4 zuz. Avlale chadzuza. And Rashi explains this avla, that he swallowed it, means that he didn't even pay him the 4. He paid him only 3. He took 3. What happened exactly? How is it that how could it be that Shmuel didn't pay him 4? How did it happen that he only got 3?
My English says different from what you're saying. My English says that he added a zuz. Footnote says Shmuel paid him 5 zuz instead of 4.
So what's this word? What's Rashi says gimel? Bimkom arba. Who do they quote that says it's 5 that he gave him?
The Rif, the Aruch, Hagos, Mordechai, Rabbeinu Hananel, Rosh, and Ramah, cited in Shita Mechubetzet, Nemuke Yosef, Yam Shel Shlomo, and Rashi.
I don't know. Our Gerson Rashi says he gave him 3 instead of 4. Because Rashi says od tos acheres. There was another mistake that happened over here in this case. If he gave him 5 instead of 4, that's not a second mistake. We're talking about a mistake that the Jew would have to tell the goy, look, you made a mistake. You don't. I have to give this back to you. It's not mine. It's yours. I don't know how they quote Rashi. Maybe what they mean to say is that somebody has a different girsa in Rashi than what we have in our standard edition over here. But I don't see any way to say that 5 was given over here according to the words that we have in front of Rashi, in front of us in Rashi. But
So you're understanding the word avla to mean swallowed.
No, that's the literal meaning, is swallowed up.
Because my English says he inserted.
Mm.
Put within it, so to speak. It's within it.
Yeah, that's okay. I don't think there's any.
Well, I think swallowing makes, if you say that it's swallowing, in other words, it was swallowed up. The price that should have been given was swallowed. The four that should have been given was swallowed up, so to speak, and he only ended up giving him three.
Well,
Things
there's
the other
another
way
way to
around.
understand that phrase. If you say I in English you would say I had to eat the loss, which means I paid extra. I ate the extra money that I paid. So it could be he swallowed the extra zoos. In other words, he lost the zoos.
Right. Yeah, that's what I think too. That he by swallowing out, that means that he yeah. That he what?
Okay, well that'll be the way that those that hold that he gave him five would have to explain that word avla. Yeah,
Right.
there seems to be a question about seems to be a question.
Well, the other thing, Rabbi, is if you think about it, it absolutely makes no sense to say that he gave him three.
Right.
Why would he give him three?
He wouldn't accept three.
Why does he give him five?
Either he's going to say he asked for four, I gave him four. I'm not obligated. Or he's going to say what's really worth five, so I'm going to do the right thing and I'm going to give him five. But what's his logic for saying I'm going to give him three? I'm going to cheat him even more? Doesn't make any sense.
He'd give more because he would want to cover himself in case it turned out that the seller thought he was being cheated.
Right.
It was just it's an insurance policy.
Well, it doesn't really help very much to give five either, because if this thing is really made out of, in other words, let's ask a question. Did Shmuel know that it was made out of gold?
Yes.
Where does it say that he knew that?
I think it says it in the, where was it? I've lost it.
All Rashi says is that it was sold under the presumption that it was made out of nechoshes.
Right.
Doesn't say that Shmuel knew that it was made out of zav. Doesn't say that.
Mm.
It says here, note 25.
Yeah.
The Kutin thought that the bowl was made of copper, coated with gold, but in fact it was gold all the way through. And that's because of Rebbe Chal, cited by the Shidduch Muchbetzi. Since the mistake was made completely by the Kutin, and Shmuel did not deceive him in any way, Shmuel was exempt from having to pay the dues.
Okay, I'll tell you like this. According to what you're saying,
the end
it doesn't really make a difference whether Shmuel knew or not. Doesn't really make a difference.
Well, just one.
It doesn't say clearly that he did know. What the important point is that the goy made a mistake. He did not know. Otherwise, he would have charged him the price for a gold vessel. The only reason that he charged him what he charged him is because he wasn't aware of the fact that it was gold. The goy thought that it was made out of silver, out of bronze.
But later on, he could find out. Later on, when he looked at his things he got for sale, say, "Oh, where's that gold one gone? Oops, I sold it to the Jew."
No, he didn't gold. He didn't think it was. He didn't know.
He didn't know that it was gold to begin with. What do you mean?
No, but he might find out later on when he looks at his inventory.
He thought it was gold. That there was gold on it because it was a copper thing coated with gold. So you see gold, but he didn't think it was pure gold. and not thinking it's pure gold. He thinks it's not worth much.
All
You know,
right.
just it's just in fact, they sell this jewelry there. You've seen them. They would sell it. It's called gold plated,
Yes.
as opposed to solid gold. You know, that's the difference between the 14 karat, 18 karat, 24 karat gold and something that just has gold foil. You know, it's a little gold on top of it, so it's not much gold at all on it. It's just a gold to give it the gold appearance, but it's not really gold through and through. Something that's gold through and through is worth much more.
Mm.
But there is one more last line on it that says, however, it is not clear why Shmuel failed to use this opportunity to sanctify the name. Why wasn't Shmuel? Shmuel could get away with it legally, but why wasn't Shmuel, why did he play that game? You know, legally he could, but he knew about it. So why was Shmuel not fessing up to it? Legally he doesn't have to, but still he could have been a good, he could have sanctified the name by telling, hey, it really is gold and you really get more money. That's why I gave him a little one extra. But that's not really what it's worth, totally.
I don't agree with this extra. If Shmuel thought that it was made out of gold, then he would have said this. Either he's going to say, I don't. It's a mistake. He's making a mistake, and it's permissible for me. I don't need to give him any more. Or if he thought that he was not allowed to do that, he'd say, look, you got to. This is gold. 4 is not the right price. What's the price if it would be gold? What does it help to give 5? What's that? Why is everybody thinking that now we understand? He gave him a little bit more. That cannot be. I think it needs to be explained why it is that he gave him. It needs to. I agree. It needs to be explained why did he give him 3, but also equally totally unclear why he gave him 5.
Mm.
It's okay. So here I have a note here from the Pirush HaRosh in the Shita Mekubetzis. He's the one who says that Shmuel did not pay less than the agreed upon price, but he paid. He gave him 1 more zuz. So he's the one who says he gave him 5 instead of 4. So now he's going to have to explain why it is that he did this. Shmuel loy chise lo zuz, ela nosan loy od zuz, levad mi arba zuze shekavu. Why did he do that? Also Cain, he did that b'kdei she'im yisbarer lagoy achar kach shehi shel zahav v'lo shel nechoshes. He did it with the following calculation in mind. Shmuel was aware of the fact that it could be that the goy at the end of the day will find out, it'll be clarified that this was in fact a gold vessel and it was not a copper vessel. Also came to Kadesha im yispar lagoy achar kach shehi shel zahav v'lo shel nechoshes lo yale b'dato shehitiu hayisrael b'kavanah. Lefi sheyachshov sheyisrael gam ken ta'ah. Kamo shetah b'zeh shenosan lo zuz echad yoter. It's an interesting thing that he says over here. See if he says like this. He says the reason for giving the 5 instead of the 4 is that in that case the goy will not think that the Jew tried to trick him intentionally at any rate, that it was just an honest mistake. Why? Lefi sheyachshov sheyisrael gam ken ta'ah. because they'll say, look, the Jew also made a mistake. He was only supposed to give me 4, and he gave me 5. So he also made a mistake. And therefore what?
Which means,
He's saying that if Shmuel would only have given the agreed upon price, so then Shmuel was concerned that if the goy would realize later on that he gave him gold, that the Jew he would accuse the Jew of swindling him, because he must have known that it was made out of gold, and yet he only gave me for the price of bronze. But in this case, if Shmuel is going to give more than the agreed upon price, then the goy is going to say, oh, well, it's true, I made a mistake. I thought it was made out of bronze, and really it was I found out later on, it was clarified to me that it was really gold, like you say. There is that possibility that the goy is going to find out somehow, some way, whatever it is, that it was really a gold vessel that he sold. So then, but if the Jew is going to give him more than the agreed upon price, then the goy is going to say, oh, the Jew made a mistake also. He gave me more than he was supposed to give. And if so, then it doesn't, he's not going to think that the Jew intentionally tried to trick him, because he gave him even more than the agreed upon price. If he was trying to trick him, he wouldn't give him the any more than what he was supposed to give him. He would give him as little as he could possibly give him, which would have been 4 zuz. In that case, the goy could have concluded that Shmuel tried to trick him. But like this, the goy is going to say, oh, the rabbi also made a mistake. He didn't realize what was going on either. And like that, there's not the if you're talking about a fair-minded person, okay, he made a mistake. People make mistakes. I made a mistake. He made a mistake. And then there's no Chilul Hashem. So in other words, at the end of the day, the Rosh is explaining the reason why Shmuel gave the extra zuz is so that there would not be a Chilul Hashem, and he was concerned for that possibility, and therefore he gave him more than what he gave, what they agreed upon.
so what happens next then? Are they supposed to settle and fix it up?
Well, what we're learning over here, Roy, is that the bottom line halacha is that if the goy makes a mistake, and the Jew didn't cause him to make the mistake, then the Jew doesn't have to. There's no obligation. There's no obligation of the Jew to say, hey, you made a mistake. Here, this money is yours. This money is not mine; it's yours.
Yeah, I realise that. But what if the seller goes to the Jew and says, "Look, there was a mistake made. I think I gave you this gold instead of bronze. So can you please either give it back to me or settle, or can you make up what the extra is, please?"
Yeah. Okay. So in that case, where the goy feels that he's been cheated, even albeit not intentionally, right? It was an honest mistake. So then Shmuel would say, oh, well, in this case, if I wouldn't pay him the full price for the gold, he says it's gold. If I won't pay him, then there would be a Chilul Hashem.
Right.
If he knew it was gold, he wouldn't have settled on that amount to begin with. It's not as simple as that.
You
Right.
mean well,
If the guy knew it was gold, the guy thought it was something else, thought it was the copper, or only copper, mostly copper. That's why he was settled. That's why he didn't make a deal when he only gave him that amount.
I mean,
Otherwise-
look at I mean, in business, right? If it's got two businessmen, one businessman thinks that this thing is worth 100,000, the other one thinks it's worth 50,000, and so you know, and it turns out that really it was worth 100,000. Is the businessman going to go over to the other one and say, you know what, it really was worth 100,000? Can you please give me back 50,000? What's the other businessman going to say to him?
You wouldn't have taken it to begin with.
He's going to say, sorry, buddy, but that's business.
But Hillel Hashem, the
It was a
Hillel Hashem
deal.
question. Yeah, but the Hillel Hashem question comes into it.
Well, I'm saying like this: is there a Hillel Hashem if, according to standard business practice, you know, sometimes you make a good deal, sometimes you don't make a good deal. A seller is required to know what it is that he's selling. If that's what he's selling, in other words, like this: if according to the halacha that this whole sale is a mistaken sale, then Shmuel would not. Then Shmuel would have to give it back. But you see, when it comes to the halacha, that, you know, when the seller sells the thing, and you know, and he makes up that this is what it is, then that's what it is. It's not called. I mean,
Except the catch is
maybe somebody asks the questions. Maybe somebody asks the question. Maybe even if it's not even if it's a mistake, and a mistake is permissible, but the whole thing, the whole transaction was based upon a mistake. It's a mekaktos. It's called a mistaken transaction. We didn't realize what the true value of the item was. It was clear. It was clear that it was gold. I don't know.
It's very great. He didn't know. And number one, it makes a very big difference, the fact that it's a kutin. It's not the same. If it's a Jew, he would be cheating him. The fact is, because he knew and didn't inform him, and it would be a mekach tov, but it's that it's a kutin. It's like you don't have to. But you can, in a sense, that's another issue to get into. You know.
Oh.
We've got to go. I'm sorry.
Oh, you mean that's the whole issue? Yeah. I think very good, Phil. Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Right. Okay, I'm not going tomorrow. I have to be with the other set of grandkids. So I think see you soon. Have a Shabbat Shalom.
Okay, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Bye.
Baruch Hashem.
Right. See you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All the best.